So Big Bad Workshop is doing a really great job of meeting customer demand. On the other hand, this week Hasbro has shown that they're not meeting customers where they shop, raising prices and calls into question a lot about the toy industry. And I have some thoughts about it. The problem is we're not having these conversations in good faith. What does that mean? It means that we're just accepting the things that support our own point. You don't get to remove every variable that complicates your argument and then call what's left over the proof that you're right, because that sounds like a very simplistic and childish way to talk about those things. And you dismiss all the things that factor into Hasbro's pricing. And you can comment on Hasbro because they have such a big market share, but if you look at it, Mattel has raised their price, McFarlane has raised their price, NECA has raised their price. All of the companies that are at mass retail are raising their prices to meet their costs. A company like Big Bad Workshop does not have the same overhead, does not have the same distribution, does not have to deal with mass retailers like Target and Walmart and Amazon and other big retailers across the country. They don't have to deal with the marketing that goes along with it, the displays, the setups, the reps that go out to make sure their sections are clean. They don't have to make the same volume. And when you're selling direct to consumer, you're cutting all of that out. A lot of these companies are smaller, okay? And they're making good product. The thing is that they may be giving you more in the box, but they have to spend less to put it in the box. At the end of the day, when you compare apples to apples, the problem is a lot of these conversations are apples to oranges. And it sounds really ridiculous because you can sit there and you're like, yeah, you're right. Hasbro's screwing us. Do you know what the licensing cost is for Star Wars? Because it's really expensive. Do you know what it is for Marvel? Do you know what it is for WWE or Ninja Turtles? You don't know what those licensing costs are, and you probably never will. You're not going to know the full production run. You may have some ex-employees that may give you some information, but by the time they give it to you, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years since they've been there. Things have changed. Do you know what their tooling costs are for the volume that they produce? Do you know what they have to make to feed their shareholders, to make sure that their company's whole? How about all the employees, the healthcare, all of that? You don't know what goes into all of that. And so when you make these arguments that Big Bad is giving you more for your money, you are absolutely right. They are giving you more in the box, but you're also discounting all the factors that change that for the big companies. Now, I'm not apologizing for them. I've stopped buying Star Wars, 100%. I don't remember the last time I bought a Star Wars figure. The Ghost is probably closest to the last, and I got some on sale that were on clearance. I don't think that really counts for me because I'm looking for them to be under like $15. I'm not buying them at full retail costs anymore. I'm barely buying Marvel Legends. I'm nitpicking, I'm cherry picking the things that I really like, and everything else I'm not getting. So I am putting my money where my mouth is. I am pulling back, and I'm okay with that. And I think that when we talk about these things, we hear people say, oh, it's a hobby. Oh, it's just toys. Oh, it's just plastic. It doesn't matter. Listen, whether it's golf clubs, whether it's things for your car, you want nice tires, you want a nice dashboard, you want some rims, you want whatever you want. All of those things cost more today. Toys are also going to cost more. And so when I hear all these arguments about how Big Bad's doing it better, or Four Horsemen are doing it better, or Savage Crucible are doing it better, you're right. Savage Crucible is making really good figures. Four Horsemen are making really well detailed figures. Not posable, but they're good. All right. But on the other hand, this is an inside joke for a Figure Fight Club crew, Hasbro is also making good figures. He is loaded out. But you're also going to get figures that are not. Like this one. We buy what we buy. We buy what we like. And, we hear these people that get on the shows and they talk about how we're being cheated, how we're being treated poorly, how we have these discussions about these things. You're not having them in good faith because you're just discounting everything. And I've seen it before. It's like, oh yeah, they have a licensing fee, but that shouldn't matter. Or, when it comes down to it, that's not true. That's just not true. You can't throw out the things that you don't like in an argument. When you talk about smaller companies giving you more bang for your buck, right? They are. But it has to do with how they work. And there's another side of it, how the bigger businesses work. There are a lot of factors that go into it. And so I would love to have an honest discussion about these things and not just discount them. And listen, I don't know all the ins and outs. I might be wrong about some of this stuff. The difference is I'm willing to adjust my perception and adjust my argument or my position based on new information that is reliable, valuable. But those of us that are just making it up in our heads, you deserve to hear it's just a toy. You deserve to hear it's a kid's thing. And I'm not taking anything away from the smaller companies. In fact, their business model may be exactly why they're able to give collectors the things that Hasbro can't. We've got a lot of different lines out there that are able to do that. They have smaller runs. They're direct to consumer. They know exactly who their audience is and they're manufacturing towards that. They're not going to have a lot left over. They're not going to have a lot of overhead the way that the bigger companies do. But Hasbro has advantages too. They're different. They're different business models, they're different advantages. And if we're going to compare them, we need to compare the whole goddamn thing. We can't just throw out the things that we don't like. Let's have a real conversation. And here's the thing. I don't think any of them would. Because none of these guys who go on these YouTube shows that have their own channels can handle when their position is challenged. They get flustered. They bumble around. They throw out wild facts and accusations, and they dismiss your position because it doesn't support their reality. We should be better. We should act better. We should treat each other better. And we should be able to have civil discussions that don't devolve into name calling and ridiculousness. So remember, buy what you like. Tell everybody else. Shut the fuck up.